You ever notice how sometimes it seems like a leader is just untouchable? Like they're in power forever, and then boom, everything changes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're looking at today. The fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria.
Right.
We're using these excerpts from The Fall of the Fortress, Assad's Last Stand.
Interesting.
And it's wild how Assad, who had all these powerful allies,
Hmm.
Russia, Iran, Hezbollah, could fall so fast.
It is fascinating how looks can be deceiving.
Yeah,
I mean, he projected strength through these alliances, but reality, things were a lot more shaky.
right.
There were cracks forming for years before things really started to unravel.
And these excerpts say that was around 2024, right?
Yeah.
When Russia starts getting more and more involved in the Ukraine conflict.
Hmm.
And they have to pull back resources and their attention from Syria.
Right.
And then at the same time, Iran's dealing with all this unrest at home.
Yeah.
And tension with Israel is heating up.
Hmm.
So they can't really back Assad like they used to.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And even Hezbollah.
Right.
They have to scale back in Syria because of the crisis in Lebanon.
Yeah. So all these pillars supporting Assad, they start crumbling at the same time.
Yeah, like all at once.
And that created an opening, and the Syrian opposition, they were ready.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting.
Right.
Suddenly you have this unified Syrian opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody saw that coming.
Right. For years, all these rebel groups,
Yeah.
they're fighting each other.
Right.
But then when Assad's vulnerable, they put all that aside.
They had to see that opportunity, right?
And what's so fascinating is it wasn't just luck.
Oh,
The opposition saw that Assad was weak, and they went for it.
wow. Yeah.
They knew that if they all hit at once,
Mm.
it would be risky, but it could be the end of Assad.
And it paid off, didn't it?
Big time.
With that attack in July of 24 on that military base in Idlib,
Yeah.
that was a huge turning point.
Oh, absolutely.
It happened so fast.
Right.
The excerpts even say they had intelligence leaks from inside Assad's own people.
You know, it really sent a shock through the regime.
Yeah.
It showed how organized the opposition was,
Mhm.
but it also showed how weak Assad's defenses were.
Especially without Russia and Iran backing them up.
Exactly, yeah. When they pulled out, it changed everything.
I mean, it's pretty crazy how weak the regime's response was.
Right.
Like, Assad was known for hitting back hard and fast,
Yeah.
but not this time.
Do you think that was because Russia and Iran weren't there?
I mean, it had to be a factor.
Yeah, I think so. It really showed how much Assad needed his allies.
Yeah. Without them, he was exposed.
Yeah, he was. And that emboldened the opposition even more.
So they decide to go after Damascus.
Assad's home turf.
Yeah. These excerpts paint a crazy picture. Assad's trapped in the presidential palace,
Oh, wow.
advisors all around him,
Yeah.
some saying run,
Uh-huh.
some saying fight,
Mm-hmm.
some saying try to make a deal.
It's almost Shakespearean.
really is.
You have this guy who is so defiant,
Yeah.
and now he can't make a decision.
Yeah. He freezes.
And that hesitation, it kind of sealed his fate, I think. But to understand how it all ended, we have to talk about this betrayal, the one that really broke the regime.
Right, the defection.
Yeah.
A top military commander goes over to the rebels.
And he doesn't go empty-handed.
No, not at all.
Okay.
He takes all kinds of classified information with him.
Troop movements, supply routes,
Everything.
even where the hidden bunkers were.
It's devastating for Assad.
Think about what that says, It's not just a military loss. It's like
Right.
even Assad's inner circle, they're losing faith.
The excerpts talk about how the rebels used that intel to just launch attack after attack,
And they were so effective.
shutting down communications,
Yeah.
isolating key military bases.
It was like they knew what Assad was going to do before he did it.
They were always a step ahead.
Exactly. And that's because they had that inside information. It's
Yeah.
like it shows how fragile power can be. It's
Right.
not just about having a strong military.
Okay.
You need the people on your side. You need trust. And when that breaks down, you're vulnerable.
And the rebels, they knew that.
Yeah.
So they went all in on Damascus.
Wow. The heart of the regime.
Yeah. The excerpts describe it like the whole city was under siege.
Yeah.
That palace, it was turned into a fortress.
Can you imagine being there those last few days?
The tension must have been incredible.
Yeah, because Damascus, it wasn't just a city, it was the symbol of Assad's power.
Right, right.
The rebels, they weren't just trying to win a battle, they were trying to break Assad completely.
So what happened?
Well, the rebels breached the palace, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it's empty.
What? Like nobody's there.
No last stand, no final fight, nothing. Empty hallways, silence. Assad,
The guy who was supposed to be invincible.
gone, just vanished.
Wow. So he escaped.
Nobody knows for sure. Maybe he got out. Maybe there was some secret deal. We don't know. All we know is on August 12th, it was over. Just like that.
Assad's reign was over.
Yeah.
These excerpts, they describe the aftermath, relief, joy, but also this uncertainty.
Of course.
What happens now?
Right, because this new coalition, the one that overthrew Assad, it was fragile.
Yeah, a lot of different groups.
Right, united it against Assad, but what about now?
How do you rebuild a country that's been through so much?
It's a monumental task. I mean, you've got deep divisions in society that need healing. You have to build a whole new political system.
Right.
The infrastructure's destroyed. And all of this while the rest of the world is watching, trying to exert their own influence.
I mean, it's hard to even imagine, trying to rebuild a country like Syria.
Yeah.
After a war like that, so much damage, so much pain.
Yeah, you've got to heal those wounds in society. You've got to build a new political system from scratch, practically. The infrastructure's gone, and then you've got all these other countries,
Right, trying to get involved.
Exactly, and don't forget, this coalition that took down Assad, it's not a simple thing.
No.
You've got moderate rebels, you've got Kurdish fighters, you've got, well, some groups that some people would even say are extremists.
Right. It's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. But when that enemy's gone, then what? How do you stay united?
The excerpts talk about that a bit, that sense of, I don't know, like a fragile peace.
Yeah. Hope, but also worry.
Exactly. And you can't ignore the impact of the rest of the world, right? All these global powers, they want a piece of Syria.
Right. It's like this huge chessboard.
Yeah. And this new government's trying to rebuild a country in the middle of it.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It makes you wonder, was it even worth it? I mean, getting rid of Assad, that's a good thing.
Of course.
But what came after, it seems almost as bad.
Yeah. That's the question, isn't it?
I mean, historians are going to be debating this for years.
Oh, for sure. Getting rid of Assad, that was a huge turning point. But it didn't fix everything.
No. It created a whole new set of problems.
New problems, new possibilities.
Right.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us? What have we learned?
I think what Assad's fall shows us is that power is fragile.
Okay.
Even when it seems like somebody's in control forever.
Right.
All it takes is enough pressure, both from the inside and the outside.
And trust, right.
Yeah, that too. And then when it all comes crashing down, well, putting things back together, that's not easy.
No, not at all.
Revolutions, they're messy. Building something new out of the wreckage, that's even harder.
That's a pretty powerful lesson. This whole deep dive, it's really made me think.
Me too.
And I hope it's done the same for everyone listening. I mean, history, it's not just about the big events.
Right.
It's about the people who lived through them.
Exactly.
What's going to happen to Syria? What happens when a leader like Assad falls?
It's a question we should all be thinking about.
Because we can learn from it. We can learn from the past. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.